It's hard to believe that news about Liam Payne,
Yeah.
only 31 years old.
Yeah.
It's got me thinking about all sorts of things,
All right.
the pressures of fame and
Right.
the idea of redemption,
Yeah.
something Liam seemed to be seeking in his final days.
It's truly tragic. And right, his recent actions, especially attending Neil Horan's concert right before his passing,
Right.
suggests a man trying to make amends to find peace.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that, shall we?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's rewind a bit first. For those who might not recall, just 2 weeks before his death, Liam posted a video on Snapchat. He was heading to Neil's concert and mentioned wanting to square up a couple of things with him.
Right.
Did you get the sense there was a deeper meaning behind those words?
Oh, absolutely. There's a rawness to that Snapchat video, a vulnerability that hints at a bigger personal journey. Remember, this is a man who, just a year prior, had openly acknowledged the backlash from his controversial Logan Paul interview as a life-changing moment.
That impulsive interview. You could argue that's where his very public quest for redemption began.
Perhaps. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
He went from making inflammatory remarks about One Direction, almost bragging about nearly coming to blows with a bandmate,
Right.
to expressing regret and attributing his words to anger and a need to stay relevant.
It's like he was grappling with the weight of his past, those early days in the spotlight. With One Direction, the pressures of solo success, even admitting his solo career wasn't as successful as, say, Harry Styles.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this was a young man thrust into unimaginable fame at a tender age.
Right.
The kind of pressure that most of us can't even fathom. It's no wonder he sought solace, albeit in unhealthy ways like his struggles with alcohol.
He was very candid about that in 2021 on that Diary of a CEO podcast.
Right.
He described his struggles as really, really severe, even saying leaving One Direction, though tough, was necessary for his well-being. He felt like he needed to stop or it would have killed him.
And he did seek help. In 2023, he revealed he spent 100 days at a rehab facility and had achieved 6 months of sobriety. He said after rehab, he felt in control of his life again.
That takes immense strength to confront addiction so publicly and then actively work towards recovery.
Absolutely.
It makes his untimely death all the more tragic.
Yes. The circumstances of his passing in Buenos Aires are undeniably heartbreaking.
To recap for our listeners, the official report states Liam fell from a third-floor balcony, resulting in fatal injuries.
Right.
There were some conflicting reports, but ultimately it seems like a tragic accident.
Indeed. But let's shift our focus back to Liam's journey.
Okay.
Those 100 days in rehab and his own words about regaining control that speaks volumes.
Right.
He was trying to piece his life back together.
And perhaps that's where his desire to connect with Neil comes in. It wasn't just about squaring things up. It was about seeking closure, maybe even forgiveness.
And closure, as we know, can be tragically elusive.
It makes you think about the weight of words left unspoken, the things we wish we could say to those we've hurt or wronged.
But Liam's story reminds us that there's always more than meets the eye.
It's that age-old saying, everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about.
Exactly. And instead of rushing to judgment, maybe we should all benefit from choosing compassion more often.
Yeah.
Liam, like all of us, was a work in progress.
And his story, while ultimately tragic, does offer a glimmer of hope.
He recognized his struggles, sought help, and seemed to be actively working towards a better version of himself.
That's an important message to remember, especially for anyone struggling out there.
Yeah.
There is always hope, always a chance for a new beginning. It might be a difficult journey, but it's a journey worth taking.
Yeah, it takes real courage to kind of put yourself out there like that.
Yeah.
To admit vulnerability, to say, hey, I'm not perfect, I've made mistakes, and I'm trying to do better. And, Liam's willingness to be open about his struggles, his honesty about his journey with addiction, and his very public attempts to reconcile with Niall, those are things that I think resonate really deeply with people.
Yeah, it's a powerful message, especially in a world where it's just so easy to hide behind those curated online personas.
Right.
Liam's story is just a stark reminder that behind the fame and the carefully crafted image, there's a real person with real struggles. And, those struggles often play out on a very, very public stage. Yeah. It makes you think about the responsibility we all have as consumers of media and even just as people engaging online to be more mindful, more empathetic.
Absolutely. It's about fostering a space where vulnerability isn't met with judgment, but with understanding.
Right.
Liam's story, for all its sadness, could become a catalyst for a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
About mental health, about the pressures of fame, about the importance of offering grace both to ourselves and to others.
We could all benefit from extending a little more grace, couldn't we?
Absolutely. And it's something to keep in mind, especially when we're interacting online, you know? It's so easy to forget that there's a human being on the receiving end of our words,
Yeah.
a human being who may be grappling with their own unseen battles.
Liam's passing is a tragic loss. A life cut short just as it seemed like he was finding his way back to himself, back to connection, back to peace.
Yeah, it is. But while his story might be over his music, his vulnerability, his very public journey is seeking redemption, those have the power to continue impacting others.
And that's a powerful legacy to leave behind. If his story helps even one person feel less alone in their struggles, if it inspires someone to reach out for help or to offer kindness to someone who's hurting, then that's something truly meaningful.
It really is. It reminds us that even in the face of immense tragedy, there can be a glimmer of hope, a chance for growth, and a ripple effect of compassion that extends, far beyond what we can imagine.
Well, thank you for joining us for this difficult but important deep dive into the life and legacy of Liam Payne.
Of course.
Remember, you're not alone. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.